Well, welcome once again. This is the Doctor of Digital podcast. The purpose of the show is to transform your business and life with education and inspiration. I introduce busy business leaders to trends in business, technology, and marketing to highlight people you should know. Have you ever wondered how to turn your online presence into a powerful stage for your message and mission? My next guest has mastered the art of virtual events, helping countless entrepreneurs amplify their impact in the digital world. Join me as we explore the secrets behind successful online challenges and the future of virtual engagement. Michael Tucker, the CEO and founder of the Funnel Pros, brings over 6 years of expertise in the virtual event industry to my podcast. Under his leadership, the Funnel Pros has become a recognized authority in empowering online entrepreneurs through innovative virtual event solutions. Michael's team specializes in creating personalized, done-for-you virtual events with a particular focus on online challenges that have helped numerous businesses scale rapidly. His unique insights into online entrepreneurship and strategies for leveraging virtual stages make him an invaluable resource for anyone looking to expand their digital footprint. During this episode, we'll do a deep dive into the changes and hot topics of funnel chain, its biggest challenges and growth. I will leverage the expertise of my guest and how to navigate the unique dynamics of the field. By the end of this episode, you'll be better equipped to know what to do, and I encourage you to contact my guest, Michael Tucker, the CEO and founder of the Funnel Pros. With that, welcome to the program, Michael. How are you today?
Man, I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on and share this space with you. I'm excited to add value to your audience.
Well, that sounds good, and that's what I'm looking for as well. You know, one of the things I was very curious about, since this is kind of a new field and probably is for a lot of people, how did you get into this? And could you tell us some sort of pivotal story that maybe perhaps got you into this in the first place?
That's a perfect setup, my friend. So I was, back in 2017, I just graduated college. And like many college people nowadays, which is kind of sad to say, a lot of them leave college not knowing what they're going to do next. Right. And so for
Yeah.
me, I knew I loved business, but I was stepping out into the brand new world asking myself, what am I going to do? And so I went on this search for the thing, right? The thing. And I just was trying anything and everything business wise to make a dollar. I was trying stock trading. I was trying starting this business, drop shipping. I was any kind of business you can think of. I was trying it. And
Sure.
I found myself banging my head against the wall saying, why is nothing working? And then
Okay.
one day, one of my friends came up to me, and this is the pivotal story here. One of my friends at the time came up to me and said, "Hey, I've been in real estate for a couple years.
Yeah.
Why don't you jump in and try real estate?" Now, this story is not about real estate,
Right.
but it was more about the opportunity that came about through that vehicle. And so he came up and said, "Michael, why don't you try real estate?" And I said, "I just got out of college." His name was David. I said, "David, I love the idea, but real estate's for rich people." Like that was the thought. I was like, you have to be rich, you have to be old, because I was, younger 20s. And so I said, you have to have all these things. He, no, I'm going to show you how to do this and how you can win even with little money. He said, you know what? And I'll coach you. He said, I'll give you a discount. He's like, normally I charge people. And I said, David, I don't even have a penny to I think I had $100. I said, I have like $100. I can't afford it. And so we went on this journey, David and myself, of figuring out how we could make this work.
Hmm.
And it was that conversation that changed forever, because what we ended up deciding on, my friend, was that we decided that we were going to barter services. I was going to work in his business for free, and he was going to coach me real estate. And out of that, I went on this journey of learning marketing and learning sales. And it was the first time I actually dove into a role like that for someone else. And long story short, and there's a big gap here, but I'll just say this: we ended up in 10 months growing his business with me and him together working collaboratively inside of this venture. We
Right.
grew it to $750,000 in just 10 months. For me, that blew my mind because I was making $20,000 to $30,000 a year as a college
Right.
student.
Sure.
So I was like, we just made way more than I had ever made in my lifetime in 10 months, but it was all through virtual events. And that's why I'm excited to share what I'm sharing with you today.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'd be curious to know what kind of changes have you seen? Because with technology, everything moves so rapidly. So, what have you seen in terms of changes in your industry?
Yeah, great question. That was, back 2017, 2018. So since then, what we've seen in our industry running virtual events is a lot of saturation, right? It seems like a lot of people are running webinars or online
Sure.
conferences nowadays. And
Yes.
so what we've seen changes wise is there are a lot more people doing what we were doing, 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Hmm.
And so now what you have to really do is get really good at your craft. You have to get really good at presenting and really good at selling virtually, right? And so back 6 years ago, and this isn't to to put anybody down, but anybody could get on a virtual call like this and present, and even if they were mediocre, they would make
Sure.
some sales, right? But now that there's more people and there's mass to it, you have to get really good yourself at your craft.
So, in terms of what sort of high growth areas are, and I say it kind of resonates a little bit with me because I do presentation. I'm expert at coach people in presentations. Is that a growth area that you see to improve your craft and be better at your presentations?
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of people, whenever it comes to presentations, they think, I'm just going to add value. That's like the big word that's going in. I'm just going to go up, show up for an hour, 2 hours. I'm just going to show and give up value.
Hmm.
Adding value is great, but it's more than just showing up and teaching all that you can on a webinar or on a training. You have to get really good on keeping the end user, the end customer in mind. And so, yes, I'll say that I believe everybody here, if you're listening or you're watching from home, I think you should take time to really get good at, okay, how can I take my potential customers from where they are now to
Hmm.
where they want to go and help them change their belief systems, change their perspectives. It's not just about just going in and teaching, but how can I present in a way that I make people think differently and then ultimately act differently at the end. And so, one thing I tell people all the time is, sales is just more than just getting up and adding value and then talking about your offer. There's a lot of intricate pieces in there that you need to work on to really learn how to move people. And I don't know about you, man. I want to move people and compel people to action. And so that takes a lot of reps, a lot of time, but then also a lot of strategy.
That's one thing I do with the podcast. I say education and inspiration. I'm kind of idealistic. I want to make people happier. It's like I know, make a better life. Michael, it sounds like you're starting to get into a little bit of what a funnel is. So I think maybe you could talk about a funnel. That seems pretty key. But how did you develop this unique approach, and what sort of groundbreaking idea has kind of opened up the doors for you in terms of the funnel or how the business has grown?
Yeah, yeah, great question. I mean, there's many different types of funnels. And if you're here and you're listening, you don't even know what a funnel is. A
Mhm.
funnel is just, in there's multiple scenarios, but what I say it is, it's just the sales process you're using to take people from not knowing who you are to becoming a customer, right?
Mhm.
Not knowing who you are and then purchasing your software, purchasing your coaching program or your services, right? And so for us, virtually, we use, events as a funnel, a means to get people in, get them to trust us, know us, like us, and then to purchase a product at the end. And so there's many different types of ways you can do that. There's many different types of funnels out there, right? You'll
Yes.
hear people talking about book a call funnels. You'll hear them talking about there's ebook funnels. There's many different ways to skin the cat, right? As you would say. But
Sure.
for us, we found that virtual events are they're one of the best ways I personally believe because in 60 to 90 minutes or in a couple days, depending on what structure that you build out, people can come in not knowing who you are, but then they get to immerse with you in your mission. They
Mhm.
get to immerse with you in your heart, in your mind, and then they get to come out the other side with a whole new perspective on who you are. And so I love it because it can expedite the way you build trust with your customers and with your leads. Now, going straight from an ad to booking a call with you in your company is great, but a lot of times those calls may only last 15 minutes or 30 minutes. But
Sure.
imagine what would happen if I spend 60 to 90 minutes with somebody, or even a couple days, or maybe a week with somebody, their whole level of trust is going to be at another level. And there was a research done out there, and I can't remember the actual name of it, so I'm going to butcher this, but I just remember reading one time in a research article that for every hour that someone spends with you,
Yeah.
they have about $1,000 worth of trust with you. What does that mean?
Mm.
That means that if they spend for every hour, people will likely spend about $1,000 with you. So, if you spend five 5 hours with somebody, there's probably a higher likely chance that they'll spend $5,000 with you. So what we always say is the more immersion, the higher the conversion. Okay. So we want to find ways to immerse with our customers as much as possible. And that's why I love the virtual event funnel. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It nails it, as a matter of fact. So I like the fact that you just went back and define what a funnel is, because there are a lot of funnels, or people just don't know exactly what a funnel is. But something has changed pretty dramatically on how people purchase. So they used to go to online and find information. They're finding it, and they're getting closer and closer to the bottom of the funnel because somebody has finally gotten to them because they've done all the research and they're really about ready to purchase. So by the time they contact you, that's pretty darn important.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
could you walk us through a little bit of like what you do, what your expertise is, and what's that like as a person who is interested in working with you?
Yeah, great question. So, starting back whenever David and I found this success, I felt like we discovered a gold mine at the time. I felt like I was back in the old days, like cracked open this treasure chest of gold. But what happened was people started hearing and they said, "Wow, this Michael Tucker guy, he's getting results for this David. We want to know more." And so one or two clients or friends came and said, "Hey, can you do that for us?" And so we said yes. And then those two became four, and those four became eight. And so it kind of just trickled on. And so what we did was, and this was never in my post college plans, is we created a whole company where we run virtual events for people, for online entrepreneurs. So if you're an online entrepreneur, what we do is we come in and we build your event from scratch. So many people struggle with the tech, right? So many people struggle with, how do I hook up these two softwares together? How do I even build a funnel in this click funnel software, right? And so what we do is we take that pain away. We build out the whole event for you. We give you the strategy, what to say, when to say it, how to sell, when to sell, and you just come in, you're the pretty face of the event, and you just help market the event on your social media and wherever else we need you. And so it's a totally done for you solution. We've helped hundreds of people run virtual events. We've made over $40 million now online for our clients through virtual events. And so we just have found that virtual event model is our favorite, and so that's what we specialize in, and we come in and we do it for you.
Could you tell us about like a person who's not familiar with what you do? What sort of actionable tips can you give them? Because I think when you started out with your story, talking about some of your frustrations, is really illustrative of other people as well. They're frustrated. They can't figure out, well, I'm putting content out, I'm doing online events, I'm doing all these things. How come I'm not getting a return? So, what kind of actionable tips would you suggest for somebody who might find themselves in that frustration?
Yeah, I mean, test, test, test. I mean, I could give you all these different scenarios and strategies, but I mean, ultimately, the way I use virtual events is going to be probably a little bit different than the way you do, right? So the only way you can get better is through just putting in the repetitions and putting in the work. And just what I tell people all the time is, you learn something new, you test it out,
Yeah.
you take the results and you tweak it, and then you just repeat it. You keep learning, keep testing, you tweak what you learn, and just keep this loop going. But I'll say this: I think everybody on here, if you're an entrepreneur, an online business owner, I think you need to get a really good message crafted for your brand and your company, right? And so I see so many people, they're doing webinars or doing virtual events, and they're just a little bit everywhere. Like one day they're talking about this, one day they're talking about that, but really hone in. What is your message? What is your mission? And then build your products around that. Build your events around that. And so I just want you to take some time here as an actionable step, which may seem very irrelevant. You may be like, Michael, that's not going to make me thousands of dollars. That's not going to make me millions of dollars. Well, over time, it will, but it's the foundation that you have to build now. So ask yourself, do I know my mission? Do I know my message? If not, how can I spend some time today to really craft that so I can pull in the right people, so I can target the right people, and then ultimately take those people who are the right fit to the finish line, which is your service or your product. So I would say keep testing, but then really hone in on your brand voice, your message, and your mission.
So it's like A/B testing. Let's try to compare this to that. Make sure you have the great branding message and make sure you're consistent in order to get across what you're trying to do. And then you walk in with the virtual event, the do it yourself kind of thing, where it's, all right, yeah, like you say, you're the star. I don't know if I could be the star with my pretty face, but maybe my voice would work.
You
But
look amazing, man. Yeah, your voice definitely whenever I first started talking, I was like, wow, that's a strong voice. That's a podcast voice for sure. So I love it.
oh, thanks, because it goes way back when I was in radio broadcasting. So, and they do some voice talent work. Michael, it's very interesting because I do think this is kind of a unique area and it's a new area. So I'm curious then if a person has heard you talk, what would they do in terms of suggesting get a hold of you? How do you reachable and what should they do?
Great question. So we actually have, a site where you can go book a call with me personally. Not many people do that, but I'm a big believer in building relationships.
Mm,
I want to build a relationship with you and get to know you and your business better. So if you feel like virtual events are something you want to implement into your business, you feel like you have a software company or you're a speaker, an author, or a coach, and you want to just take your mission to the next level, go to thefunnelpros.com and book a complimentary call with me. We're not going to sit on there for 45 minutes to an hour, but we'll at least meet 15, 20 minutes. And I'm going to give you my real thoughts, what you can do, what you probably shouldn't do. And I'm just going to sit down. We'll have a virtual coffee together, get to know each other. But then I at least, whether we're a good fit to work together or not, I always tell people I at least want to give you some actionable steps that you can go take yourself. So go to thefunnelpros.com, book a call with me, and I'd love to chat.
that's what I'm always interested in. Let's try to connect in the first place because you have to see if there's a fit or not. Michael, I appreciate you taking out some time from your busy schedule, offering your expertise and really an interesting and groundbreaking field. So I hope people will follow up. Thanks for being my guest today. Much obliged, Michael.
Thank you for allowing me. Have a great day. God bless you
Thank
all. Peace.
you. Bet. Take care. You know, if you want to have more great guests like Michael, because I learned a lot, it's a new industry, make sure that you are liking, subscribing, positively reviewing, and sharing the Doctor of Digital podcast among everyone else that you know. I also want to thank the sponsors of the program, both for On Track Ian Hunter and Burning America, the sponsors of the podcast. And also, if you want to reach out to me and know more about what I do, I help business leaders, CEOs, and entrepreneurs break through their obscurity through oral and written presentations, building credibility and authority. You can also join my private Facebook group, Mastering Presentation Secrets. Until the next time, this is the Dr. Digital signing off. Until then, Deus Volt.